The chiefest things I get a thrill out of, because I don't, to do a voice character for kids who go, "You're not the Grinch," and then go, "I know just what to do." It's fun. It's just fun. They're going to go, "Ooh, it's creepy." It's almost like, was it because, I can't obviously be the Grinch as opposed to being...
What if everything you thought about your favorite celebrities was flipped upside down by one late-night talk show appearance? Imagine stepping into a theater of quick-witted banter, unexpected slip-ups, and behind-the-curtain rumors that never made the official headline. That's precisely what happened one unforgettable evening on Britain's most iconic red sofa. Viewers tuned in, expecting playful jokes and a few light stories, but soon found themselves entangled in comedic chaos that sparked discussions for years to come. From Benedict Cumberbatch's quirky pronunciation fiasco to a bizarre punching bag showdown, every moment revealed something new, strange, and irresistible.
I knew it all along. I knew it all along, and every time I solve a crime, I like to sing my favorite song. Ba, ba, black sheep, have you any wool? Yes, sir, yes, sir.
Stay with me, because by the end of this tale, you'll be questioning whether these spontaneous celebrity moments are as accidental as they seem. Benedict Cumberbatch is known for his polished charisma, brilliant acting range, and refined public persona. No one ever imagined he'd be immortalized for mispronouncing a single word. Yet that's exactly what went down when he narrated a nature documentary and said penguin in a way that had the internet replaying it on loop. Instead of penguin, it tumbled out as pungwang or pungling, depending on who you ask.
Brilliant. They write really witty scripts. Scott, who directed me a lot of the time, was light on his feet. The sessions were fun and the animation was just gorgeous. And, it's another cut of that brilliant story that we all love and know from the Dr. Seuss canon. And
it became so notorious that his fans began anticipating each mention of the word, waiting eagerly to catch the moment he'd slip up again. The talk show host, smelling comedic gold, couldn't resist confronting Benedict about his now famous quirk. That's where the real fun began. Benedict squirmed good-naturedly, swearing he was mortified, trying to explain how a seemingly brilliant actor could fail so spectacularly on such a simple word. From the outside, it looked spontaneous, but rumor has it that producers might have known for weeks how he pronounced penguin, purposely highlighting it in the final cut for comedic effect. After all, viral moments translate to viewers, and viewers mean ratings. Even more eyebrow-raising was the speculation that the team behind the show choreographed the entire exchange. Skeptics argue that a production staff specializing in quality control would never let a star of Benedict's caliber repeat.
Just as I suspected, one of the best parts about being a detective is that I get to lock up criminals like you and go home to my children and my pet badger and say, this town needs an enema.
Mispronunciation so many times without stepping in. Whether you chalk it up to comedic, happenstance, or cunning show business tactics, one fact remains. Penguin Gate turned into one of the most memorable celebrity slip-ups in recent history. But that was just the first in a series of bizarre revelations that night. Surely, you'd think that with all the staff, editors, and top-tier producers that revolve around a major talk show, someone would step forward and say, "Hang on, let's do a quick retake." But apparently that never happened, or so they claim. Some fans believe that once the producers realized how funny the mispronunciation sounded, they deliberately let it slide to create a viral moment. Indeed, if you watch the footage carefully, you can spot the mischievous glee on the host's face.
Different vocoders and strains and effects with microphones and different temperatures and pacings and tonalities. And I just remember the quieter it was, the more kind of terrifying it was, as this shape of destruction swooped down silently through the night.
As though he knew the payoff was coming. Various backstage whispers suggest that the penguin fiasco triggered minor tensions behind the scenes. One line of gossip proposes that certain staff members felt they should protect Benedict from potential embarrassment, while others argued that the comedic payoff was worth the slight discomfort. The final result? Benedict was left out to dry on national television in the most playful way possible. This leads to an even bigger question. How many other accidents on this show were quietly staged for maximum comedic chaos? And how many more secrets swirl around these post-show green rooms, never to see the light of day?
Watching Superman! Then why does security camera footage show you gyrating just half a millimeter away from the crime scene?
One thing is certain. Once the show realized the comedic gold they had struck, they wasted no time poking fun at Benedict's expense. Yet, this was hardly the only comedic meltdown to jolt the audience that night. Up next was an equally entertaining spectacle, one that involved a Scottish actor known for wielding a Jedi weapon like nobody else. Ewan McGregor walks onto the set with that confident charm fans have adored since his early career. But the last thing anyone expected was to see him brandish a Star Wars lightsaber in the middle of a lively interview. Excitement filled the studio as soon as the host produced a set of these iconic props.
Suspicion of second-degree robbery. Crumbs! That's right. 4,229 eggs were stolen from Macy's.
Squeals erupted among the audience, many of whom had grown up watching the legendary sci-fi franchise. Ewan, never one to disappoint, took up the challenge. He ignited the lightsaber, swirling it deftly through the air like a true Jedi master. The crowd roared, and even the fellow guests got in on the fun. However, backstage rumors hint that this entire segment was much more complicated than fans might realize. For one, there were alleged concerns about prop safety. Imagine if one of the guests, or even the host, caught a plastic beam to the face on live television. Production teams apparently huddled for hours beforehand, debating whether to greenlight the demonstration. Some even whispered that Ewan almost backed out at the last minute, worried about overshadowing the rest of the show. Then came the comedic highlight. Everyone tried to make the iconic VMM noise.
I did. I've never been very good with being agented or with agents, and I fire them left, right, and centre. I fired one poor man who was a brilliant agent just because I saw his anus.
The host teased Ewan about how actors supposedly can't help but make the sound effect themselves while filming. Ewan sheepishly admitted it was tough not to slip into those whooshing noises on set, prompting a wave of laughter. By the time the lights went down for a dramatic effect, complete with swirling neon swords, everyone was grinning from ear to ear. But was this all a perfectly orchestrated ploy? Some insiders claim that the Star Wars prop cameo was a last-minute addition forced by the network, aiming to catch the wave of renewed franchise hype. Others insist Ewan orchestrated it himself to lighten the mood. Either way, it stands as one of the show's most memorable comedic interludes. Yet for all the playful fun, the night was only getting started.
Some film festival, and his shower broke down. He wanted to borrow my bath in my suite, and I said, all right, and I forgot he was in there. And I walked in, and he was on all fours washing. Who washes like that?
A different kind of challenge was revving up backstage, one that involved a high-tech punching machine and a whole lot of bruised ego. No one expects to see a punching machine on a refined, primetime talk show. Yet there it was in all its neon glory. Originally introduced as a quick gimmick, the mechanical punch bag was meant to measure the guests' boxing power and flash a corresponding score on its display. It was supposed to be a light-hearted demonstration, but things rapidly spiraled into a bizarre spectacle of competitive. One after another, celebrities and the host took a swing. The comedic tension rose every time someone delivered a half-hearted punch, only to receive a score so embarrassingly low that the audience burst into giggle. Then came the surprise.
I did then invent an agent for 3 or 4 years called James Howeley, which was saved a lot of money. You know, people would send me a script, and James Howeley would say, thank you so much for submitting the script. I'll get it to Hugh as soon as possible and get back to you.
Someone clocked a number so high that jaws dropped around the studio. Whispers from the sidelines alleged that a certain star, previously revered for refined comedic roles, felt quietly crestfallen at his relatively low score, leading to jokes that he might double back later for a rematch. Meanwhile, the biggest rumor floating around is that one of the more physically imposing celebrities had actually practiced on a similar machine before the show, determined to clinch the highest score and steal the spotlight. The rest of the guests apparently had no idea they were walking into a high-stakes pseudo-boxing match. As the device announced final numbers, the entire audience roared. For a moment, it felt less like an interview set and more like a carnival booth. Yet just as laughter peaked,
And then they rang one time, and I thought, I haven't got a voice for James Howeley. And for some reason, I panicked, and I went with genteel Edinburgh old lady.
the show delivered another curveball. A certain Hollywood actress, widely adored for her sweet persona, was about to share an unexpectedly emotional moment, one that involved an iconic pop group known worldwide for their catchy hits. If you thought a punching machine was the strangest twist of the night, think again. When Emma Stone sat down on the infamous red couch, most people expected her signature charm. What they didn't anticipate was a teary-eyed reaction the instant she heard a special cameo greeting from the Spice Girl. Emma had confessed her lifelong admiration for the British pop phenomenon, citing their message of girl power as an inspiration. The host took that confession and ran with it, arranging a brief surprise that would leave Emma starstruck. In a short video clip, one of the Spice Girls popped up with a heartfelt message, praising Emma's work and personally inviting her to meet the group. Before the actress could contain herself, tears welled up. She fanned her face in disbelief, shifting between laughter and sobs. The audience cooed in delight at her genuine, vulnerable reaction. But behind the scenes, rumors buzzed about how this cameo almost didn't happen. Scheduling conflicts, contract haggling, and last-minute negotiations threatened to derail the surprise. It's said that certain producers were hesitant about overshadowing the bigger-name guests who might have wanted the spotlight. Some also speculate that another member of the Spice Girls was originally supposed to appear in person, but had to pull out a few days prior. Regardless, the on-screen result was a raw, heartfelt moment that overshadowed even the comedic missteps earlier in the show. Still, Emma wasn't the only guest who found themselves in a vulnerable position that evening. Another star soon took the hot seat, revealing an odd piece of personal history, from wearing the wrong underwear at the worst moment to a comedic meltdown that had once gotten him fired. The night was about to get even more unpredictable. Hugh Grant has a reputation for that classic British charm, blending self-deprecating humor with razor-sharp wit. That night, though, he upped the ante by recounting cringeworthy tales from his past. He delved into a story about being sacked from a job in holiday entertainment, what Brits fondly call a blue coat, due to a comedic act gone horribly wrong. With perfect timing, he described stepping on stage, trying to deliver jokes he'd borrowed from more seasoned comics, only to let a particularly offensive word slip in front of an entire crowd. The entire audience erupted in scandalized laughter. You could see Hugh cringe at his own memory as he described the aftermath, including management punishing him by reassigning him to a less glamorous location. Then he hit another comedic home run by revealing how, once as a teacher, he accidentally wore someone else's undergarments, his mother's no less, and discovered it at the most inconvenient time imaginable. The layered embarrassment was so thick, the viewers couldn't help but cringe and giggle in unison. But was the story exactly as it happened? Some fans believe Hugh might have embellished details for comedic effect, especially given the show's environment. After all, an outrageous anecdote can become even more outlandish with a few well-chosen tweets. Others insist he's telling the pure, unvarnished truth, explaining that it aligns with the type of self-deprecating humor he's known for. Ultimately, nobody but Hugh knows the full story, though the thought of him mistakenly wearing the wrong underwear in front of a classroom remains an image viewers won't soon forget. Yet that wasn't even the weirdest slip-up of the night. A far more surprising hot mic incident involving a teacher, hearing-impaired students, and an accidental bathroom broadcast was waiting to overshadow all else. Curious what truly happened? Brace yourself for the next reveal. At one point in the evening, the conversation veered toward those dreaded hot mic incidents, that moment when someone's microphone is still live despite them thinking otherwise. One guest recounted a story about a teacher who forgot his body pack mic was still transmitting to a class of hearing-impaired students. The teacher innocently dashed into the bathroom, completely unaware that every personal sound was being magnified for his unsuspecting audience. Cue stunned silence, muffled giggles, and a tidal wave of secondhand embarrassment. What's remarkable is how swiftly such stories can spread once a star reveals them on national television. Fans on social media quickly began trading rumors about real-life parallels, as though the anecdote might have come from something that actually happened backstage. A few people even speculated that a staff member from the show had faced a similarly mortifying slip-up earlier in the season, but managed to keep it under wraps. Producers likely broke a sweat when they realized how quickly these rumors were circulating. In an environment where every uttered word can be clipped, shared, and turned into trending fodder, controlling the narrative becomes an uphill battle. Whether the rumor about the show's own staff member is true or not, the moral of the story is clear. When you're wired for sound, never assume your words are private. But as shocking as these personal horror stories might be, they only set the stage for the show's finale. With each new confession, rumor, and comedic meltdown, viewers were primed for something epic. And what they got was a parting revelation that nobody saw coming. By the time the credits rolled, audiences were left buzzing about the weirdest, funniest, and most downright surprising talk show episode in recent memory. Benedict Cumberbatch unwittingly triggered an online frenzy with his pungling slip. Ewan McGregor fanned the flames of nostalgia by reliving his Jedi roots. A playful punching machine tested everyone's sense of humor, and perhaps their dignity. Then Emma Stone's tearful Spice Girls tribute, followed by Hugh Grant's humiliating confessions, took emotional whiplash to a whole new level. Yet the real question lingered. How many of these mishaps were genuine mistakes, and how many were meticulously orchestrated for maximum shock value? Some fans are convinced the entire night was a masterclass in viral marketing, designed to keep viewers glued to their screens and social media feeds. Others prefer to believe that authentic chaos remains possible in a highly controlled, big-budget environment. Either way, the resonance was undeniable. Long after the final applause faded, people continued dissecting each comedic stumble, fueling countless conspiracy theories about who knew what and when. So the next time you tune in to watch your favorite celebrities banter away, ask yourself, how spontaneous are these moments? Did that slip of the tongue happen by chance? Or did the show's producers orchestrate it to captivate millions? In a world where every viral clip can make or break a show's reputation, the line between genuine spontaneity and calculated performance often blurs beyond recognition. One thing is certain: if you believe you've seen it all on these star-studded sets, think again. Behind the laughter and the bright lights lies a realm where controversy meets comedy, rumor meets reality, and the simplest word, like penguin, can echo for years to come. And that, perhaps, is the true magic of an unpredictable evening on that famous red sofa. You never know what slip, mishap, or tearful confession will become the next cultural obsession. Whether orchestrated or not, it's exactly the kind of wild ride viewers can't help but revisit, share, and obsess over. So keep your eyes peeled and your sense of humor at the ready, because on this show, every moment is a chance to create the next big wave of speculation and delight.